Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 23 with me, Dan, and the Slothz team coming off the back of a win in Hungary after that red flag turned the race into a dry one. I think pretty much just saved our skin there. And we're headed over to the Belgian Grand Prix for race number 10 of the season. There'll just be 6 more races to go after this one, and as per usual, on to practice 2 because we've already done practice 1 out on track and picking up the resource points. You could see that earlier on in the season, well, this last race, we picked up the last aero upgrade, which should put us at the top of that graph. But we've also got a lot of work to do still in the chassis and kind of in the power unit, but it's not really a big deal as we go for this very daring one there. Didn't work out too well then. And over to the chassis department to get some brakes. So as we come to the sprint race in Belgium, having just improved our chassis ever so slightly in a few races time, the rain has started to fall, and we had this in Belgium last year, and it ended up creating quite an interesting strategy call, which ultimately didn't really work out for us in the end. So we'll see what we can do this time out in Belgium. So don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell so you know when all of these races are uploaded. And we'll get straight underway with the starting grid for the sprint race here in Spa-Francorchamps. And starting off on pole position once again is the 2 Ferraris, this time Carlos Sainz edging out his teammate Charles Leclerc to the top spot. They're followed by Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, Sergio Perez and Pierre Gasly, Max Verstappen and Alex Albon, Lando Norris and Jack Doohan, Esteban Ocon and Valtteri Bottas, Oscar Piastri and Lance Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda and Radiant Slothz, Logan Sargent and Joe Guan Yu, Kevin Magnussen, Nico Hulkenberg, and finally Théo Pourchaire and Nick De Vries, as we had a pretty terrible qualifying due to the weather coming down at all the wrong times here in Spa. So we've got quite a lot of ground to make up to try and match our best here from last season. But again, we started quite far back then as well as we get underway here in the sprint race for 5 laps. And we dive to the inside there and up the inside. We're now alongside our teammate as we make up at least a quarter of the field there in just one corner. Right up behind the Alpine of Esteban Ocon, and away we go past him on the lead up to Eau Rouge and Radion as we go very right there for Eau Rouge across Radion on the runoff area. Now Jack Doohan's going to have a little look around the outside of us. He does get by, but can he hold on to the position as we come to the end of the Camel Straight? We go to the outside, and Jack Doohan once again slots in behind us. Still for 0 points, of course. This is only a sprint race, but crucial for getting into a good position for the start of the actual race. As we go on board with our start here, lots of spray, very difficult to see as we go past a Mercedes there. And into turn 1 we go, making up a nice bit of ground. Even if we don't improve too much from here, then at least going into the full race will be in a good place to start. And once again, that mistake there, running wide up Eau Rouge. This is Lewis Hamilton, and by the looks of things, he's had the worst start of F1 23, perhaps even every F1 game in history. As he goes through turn 1, still incredibly slowly, just had no traction, and well, still no traction, it seems, as the Williams even gets past him as well. So end of lap 1, and we'll be trying to find our way past Esteban Ocon. Up ahead, we can overtake here into turn 1, as we've done several times before on the channel, and we do get the position. Lando Norris is up ahead next, and a little way up the road, Max Verstappen, having his best result for some time, is running in the points at last. It is only a sprint race, but at least it's something. And at the end of lap 2, through the bus stop chicane we go. Albon up in 7th as well. Everyone ahead of us scoring points so far during this sprint, but we need to dethrone some of them. The first one will be Lando Norris, as we don't go up the inside this time. We back out of it, and we're going to try and attempt to get the move done here. And we do get better traction out of the first corner, and we are past the McLaren as we go up Eau Rouge. Not running too wide this time, but we do go slightly offline. And that will be an opportunity for Lando Norris. He's going to look to the right-hand side, soon to become the inside. We push him towards the inside of the corner, and although we pick up the fastest sector 1, Lando Norris up the inside has taken away the point once again, and hopefully we'll get a chance to come back at him later on. This is the replay. Through turn 1 he goes, and just on the power, just not quite there. I think if anything, one of the things that we've upskilled quite a lot here is power out of corners, especially in the wet. They seem to be one of the strongest areas against the AI, at least on the difficulty we're on now, which is at about 97. And there he goes up the inside as he gets back past us again. And we rejoin the final stages of lap 3. Esteban Ocon also seeking to try and score some points here in the sprint race. Tries to go for the overtake here as we approach Blanchimont. We go on board now. See just how close this is as we have the lift and downshift through there, and just about hang on here. He's going to go late on the brakes. We can hopefully try and plant it up the inside and just close that door. Yes, we do. And we're away with half a lap to go, near enough, of the race. Max Verstappen going for a move on Pierre Gasly, not quite getting it done. And again, just a great summary of the season that Max Verstappen has been having, as we also run off an ideal line there. Verstappen has yet to score points in the last couple of races, and if he has scored points recently, it's been in very, very small numbers, nothing in the top 5 at all, to my memory, which is an absolute abysmal time for him. I think he's sat behind us in the driver's standings, and also behind Albon at the moment. So not looking good for him, but we finished the sprint race in P9. That's a good place to start from when we get into the main event in just a couple of minutes. Definitely a lot better than P16, that's for sure. And we also get driver of the day for the number of overtakes that we received in that race. And over to the final results, it is Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc and George Russell picking up the podium places here in the sprint race. And as we come over to the full event for the weekend, the rain has thankfully dried up, much to my pleasure, as I don't fancy doing one of these races in the rain again. We seem to have featured rain on many of the previous races in this season so far, and we've got quite a lot of temperate climate events coming up as well, unfortunately, so there might be more rain to come. Anyway, once again, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, as well as we get on with the main event, and hopefully we can make some more progress over the course of a full race distance here in Belgium. But anyway, onto the starting grid. We know we're starting P9, but where is everyone else after that 5-lap sprint race? And on the front row remains the same. It is Carlos Sainz ahead of his teammate Charles Leclerc. The Ferraris once again having a great Saturday, and once again on the front row. George Russell and Sergio Perez follow them, with Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen. Then Alex Albon and Lando Norris with Radiant Slothz, and then Jack Doohan being promoted to 10th. Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas, Oscar Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda. Esteban Ocon with a penalty alongside Lewis Hamilton, Logan Sargent and Nico Hulkenberg, Joe Guan Yu and Kevin Magnussen, along with Teo Pourchaire and Nick De Vries at the back of the field. So Ocon helps to promote Doohan up to 10th, which is good to help his point tally continue, and Lewis Hamilton, after that awful start will be hoping to get his way back into the top 10. Carlos Sainz hoping to improve on his 0 points out in Hungary after that technical issue made him drop all the way down the field after the red flag restart. So then, here we go, 4-5 red lights in Belgium. And away we go. Now, let's see what Jack Doohan could do. Could he score points in 2 consecutive races? Can we make it up into the podium positions? Maybe even win the race again? Back-to-back wins this season would be incredible, but looks like one of the Ferraris has other plans. We do get past Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, though, in turn 1. And hopefully this time we do keep it on the circuit. Yes, we do. Up over and Radeon as we come up to the back of the Aston Martin. But unfortunately, his straight line speed equal to ours here as we come down the Camel Straight into the braking zone. And through we go. The chicane. Pierre Gasly as well, up into P4, having an amazing race for Alpine. We've not seen performance like that from the French outlet for quite some time. I mean, they've had the odd point finish here and there, but to be up into P4 is absolutely incredible for Alpine. This is our start. I think that's Verstappen there on the left-hand side, trying to find a way past Perez and just not finding it at all. And what he did find was a Slothz car going up his inside. As we rejoin at the end of lap 1, we go very deep into the bus stop. That allows Max Verstappen to have a look around the outside there, and we actually nearly make contact with his front wing. Not something that he wants to do again, but what he doesn't want to do is be alongside Lando Norris, who, whilst retiring, smashed up Verstappen's front wing in the last race. And it looks like Norris has just gained that position from Verstappen, which is not good. And even Jack Doohan's having a look now at Max Verstappen, the defending world champion, as they go up over Rouge and Radeon onto the Camel Straight. Doohan ahead now. No DRS just yet. We're only on lap 2, so this is all about raw performance of the car, and Doohan under attack now. He's in the slipstream of the McLaren, but I don't think it's going to help him as they go through the chicane. And unfortunately, Jack Doohan, well, avoids damage, but unfortunately is bested by Verstappen, and now Stroll's having a look. Not made anything of that by the looks of things, though. This was the replay of Verstappen seeking an opportunity there and finding it disappear particularly quickly. You can see in the mirror on the left-hand side, Lando Norris approaching. There he is. And into the braking zone, just on that shallower line. Interestingly, didn't straighten up a little early there, actually. But there we go, losing the position. And on lap 5 we do have the DRS in play now. And whilst not much is happening, going down the field, Lewis Hamilton in 17th. Apparently, has just decided to use up some of his worn components today as well. And as such, has not actually made any progress whatsoever. So instead, we watch Lando Norris. He's going to get the DRS on us as we're too far back from Alex Albon and head towards the end of the Camel Straight. If you're noticing that we've got the split times and the position change up there on the left-hand side of the screen, it's because in the stupidest method and bug that I've ever seen in Formula 1 games, you have to take a picture of one of the cars, leave photo mode, and then for no reason whatsoever, these split times and position changes suddenly appear over on that timing chart on the left-hand side. I mean, that's absolutely incredible that the level of laziness and stupidity that is on display whenever these F1 games get released. It's ridiculous. And why we can't change driver perspective in theatre mode still, I don't know. It's just pathetic from Codemasters and EA that is still something that you have to watch, as I'm doing right now, recording this bit of the video at the end of the race before you advance to the next part of the My Team career. It's ridiculous. But anyway, we press on and get up the inside of Nico Hulkenberg as the rage fuses through us at the ridiculousness of that coding. And through we go towards the back end of the circuit. The rain is coming down, which isn't ideal. And hopefully things will remain interchangeable because we have not gone for inters. But it looks as though everyone else, as we're on lap 9, we're nearly 2/3 of the way through this race, has remained out on track. For now, as Sonoda slides through Blanchimont, nearly wipes us out completely. And you can see some of these drivers brave. Piastri now attempted to go for his 10th lap on the soft. Still no one coming in. It's looking good for us. If things stay as they are right now, the AI may not actually come in at all. Looking down the order, Doohan looks like he's been in. He's behind Bottas. So it's just a waiting game at the moment to see if we can get past some more of these drivers as they just slowly wear out their tyres. And then we're going to get the DRS now on Piastri and closing in the gap incredibly quickly. We are past him and up into P12 and not a huge far away distance from Esteban Ocon, who was behind us when we had our pit stop. Not far behind anyway. But, we've got a yellow flag up ahead as Esteban Ocon spins the car and presumably has just been yet another attempt for Alpine to pick up some points. All eyes are now on Pierre Gasly, who, looking at the minimap, is still up there. Yes, he is, actually. He's coming to the pits. And there's a bit of jostling going on as we come around. We've got 5 laps to go. There's a Ferrari out on track. I think that's Sainz. 5 laps to go. The rain is still coming down, but what is everyone using now as we come past them? Intermediates are on for the drivers ahead of us. We're going to get past Albon as he still gets up to temperature, but this isn't good. Looks like some more cars have come into the pits. There's Ocon. We think he was going to come in anyway because he was still running the first set of tyres he was using. But some other drivers as well. I think Zhou Guanyu has come in. And one of the Hasses. Gasly going backwards now as Perez gets past him. But we appear to be in a little bit of a sticky situation now. And there was the engineer there just stating that it's time to come in and change tyres. DRS has been disabled. We have not made a good decision here. We're into the top 10. But as the rain begins to come down, let's listen in. 5 more minutes of rain. That's about 2 and a bit laps with the wetness coming down right now as Albon crashes into the back of us there. Interestingly. So we've got the Aston Martin right behind us. The 2 cars ahead slowly speeding into the distance. And Alex Albon, we actually gave him a bit of the squeeze there, and I think he was a little bit on the grass and wasn't able to slow down. You can see how much grip he has, though. He stayed out a lot longer than we did on our first set of tyres. But those intermediates are actually the tyre to be on now as we come to the end of the Camel Straight. And Norris is already closed up that 4-second gap as Albon runs into the side of us there as we come through the final part of that section. And he's lost his entire front wing and is right in the way now. Lando Norris will be looking for an opportunity here. He goes up the inside as we just have no grip whatsoever on the slicks coming down the hill. We've got Max Verstappen behind. He might actually score some points for once as we come down. Norris is escaping up ahead. I don't think we're going to get that position back in a hurry. Hopefully the track will begin to dry out in a lap or two's time. But of course there's going to be a bit of cutover whilst the intermediates are still the tyre to be on. But maybe as Norris is held up by the Aston Martin of Albon, we can take advantage and just gain some positions back. We've also got to watch out for Lance Stroll, who's more than likely going to try and crash into us. As Verstappen now runs side by side with us through Blanchimont. We're on the wrong tyre here. He should really know better than to go around the outside of us when we're wearing slicks in this weather. And he does back out of it. He's going to look at the inside into the bus stop. And it's not going to happen. Albon slows up Norris as he goes through the bus stop, but we're not able to take advantage. This is the replay of Alex Albon Clearly just playing around with his food here as he refuses to go past us, and when he eventually does, just steers out wide. Not really able to do much there. Well, either of us. This is Norris seeing a gap down the inside here as we have no grip at all. And then it's a drag race downhill towards this left-hand corner, and we are never going to be able to make that apex with the tyres that we're on. At least not at the same speed that Norris can. But we're still up into P7 after Albon came into the pit lane. But we've still got to watch out for Verstappen and Stroll. Also, Doohan promoted up to P10 as a result of that incident with Albon. And as we come down the hill, once again, Max Verstappen now looking for a move up the inside. So's that Stroll around the outside, but we've lost the rear end. And now we spin out of control down the hill. And Jack Doohan gets past us into 8th. Lance Stroll also moves up to 7th. And somehow Max Verstappen politely waits for us to start going again. And we're joined by Logan Sargent, who's having his best race of the season so far. And he's actually running the mediums right now. So the track is coming back very slowly. There's the rear going for us, spinning around. We didn't even see Stroll. Doohan says thanks very much, and we somehow stay ahead. This is Verstappen. Sees that gap, and as soon as we hit the brakes, the rears are gone. And he gets to, well, he tried to reverse around us at first. That's probably why he got stuck there for so long. But, yeah, Logan Sargent running the mediums is gaining on us as Verstappen goes around the outside and we slide it into his rear tyre and bump him out of the way. I don't think that was totally legal, but the FIA have not said anything. The stewards quite happy to allow it, so we're going to continue to do it. And with the Williams closing in, he's actually now within a second if DRS gets re-enabled. That's a good thing for Logan Sargent. Verstappen, again, trying to get past us, doesn't find a way through. And somehow we still have grip to go around there flat. This was Verstappen late on the brakes anyway, misses the apex, and then we're just unable to stop ourselves at that point. Going through there, just no grip still with the tyres. At least Logan Sargent's mediums will clean up a little bit quicker. As we now go on board, sliding through turn 1, we've got a yellow flag up ahead, so we're going to have to be careful here. When we time this overtake, Verstappen swipes across as the pit wall comes at him on his right-hand side. We get ahead slightly here as we enter the yellow flag zone. I don't know who is ahead right now. It's changing hands rapidly as we power down the Camel Straight. Oscar Piastri ruins Logan Sargent's day as he gets up into P10. As we come down towards the end of the straight, the McLaren gets past. Verstappen knocks into us there as we get sandwiched between the two cars, and Logan Sargent is going to have a look up the back of Max Verstappen, but it's not meant to be. Verstappen's going to have another look down the inside here, being mindful of the lack of grip. The rear comes out again, but there's a piece of Red Bull coming off of the front wing of Max Verstappen. I think he's lost his end plate. Yes, he has, and Max Verstappen for the second race in a row loses an end plate, and that is his race over. Let's look at the replays that led up to this. This is Lance Stroll breaking down just after the pit lane and apparently drove all the way down the end of the Camel Straight. Verstappen alongside us here as we decide politely, after you, sir. No, after you. And there we are getting ahead. We're clearly faster in a straight line. We get a squeeze on Verstappen, but then we get squeezed ourselves by the McLaren. End up hitting Verstappen. Not that didn't help us there as we slid round the second part of the chicane. And then down the hill. Squeeze of Verstappen here. Once again, the rear going out. And this time, our front tyre just moves across the front of the Red Bull front wing, and that is a piece of Verstappen's car and his ego chipped away at once again. This is our onboard. Oh, Verstappen actually bouncing off the curb as well, hitting us. Multiple drivers at fault there, but as per usual, absolutely no punishment issued. And yeah, just a little touch of steering on that right hand side has slid us out into the Red Bull. And as we come down, we're actually on the penultimate lap, actually. Verstappen is going to try and go past us again. I don't know why he's even attempting this at this point. As we come down towards the bus stop chicane, he is dropping back now, actually, and causing absolute havoc behind. This will be big. This will promote the Williams of Logan Sargent into the points. Potentially, he will become the first Williams to score points this season. This could draw them level for 9th with AlphaTauri, who, with the worst car in F1 history, have somehow scored a point. If you saw the last video, at the beginning, we saw the performance graph. You saw that they're on about 650 performance points. The next car up the graph is Williams, over 700. They are so far behind, it's absolutely comedic. But as we come through, Radion, down the Kemmel Straight we go. Our point tally isn't going to be very happy after this one, but at least we'll still be in the top 10. Max Verstappen maybe having second thoughts about this championship as Logan Sargent now battles with Nico Hülkenberg. This could be big for Williams, but Haas have moved up into the top 10, and Logan Sargent just doesn't have the car and doesn't have the level of skill required to compete with Nico Hülkenberg at this point in the Williams career, and he has dropped out of the points once again. And now we're under attack from Hülkenberg. The Haas is actually on par with us in terms of performance this season. We're going to have to be very careful how we play this as we come down the hill now. He's on the inters as well, so he's going to have a lot more grip than we do. Even though the rain has pretty much stopped at this point and the track has begun to dry out. I think the DRS was actually enabled right near the end of this lap. But it's not going to help us right now. Doohan's going to score some points, though. That's a positive. We'll see where he sits in the standings a little bit later on, and we'll see if he makes it 3 in a row as we go to the Netherlands next. We do have good aero on this car, so perhaps we're in with a good shout in the Dutch Grand Prix. We're just going to have to find out. I don't even know, because I've not even recorded it yet. But we come through the bus stop chicane, around the final corner, and to the line we go. Nico Hülkenberg hangs on to P10, and we cross the line just about scoring points in P9. Driver of the day, who's it going to? It's going to Lewis Hamilton, who we'll see in a moment probably where he ended up, but it wasn't very good. But George Russell back on the top step of the podium. The Drivers' Championship between the top 8 or so drivers, extremely interesting this season. With several races still to go, and several of them actually being very good ones for us. We've actually got a chance at winning this title. It's a long shot, but at least 5 other drivers also have a chance at winning this title. So we'll just have to see what happens. Stick around for that one. And all 3 of these guys, not James Allison, but all 3 of the drivers are in with a chance of this championship. And here are the final results of the weekend. George Russell tops the weekend results with 31 points. Also scoring points, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Jack Doohan, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen, Alex Albon, Radiant Slothz, and Nico Hülkenberg. Over to the Drivers' Championship, Sergio Perez now moves up to the top ahead of George Russell by 7 points. Behind them, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Radiant Slothz, Alex Albon, Max Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Esteban Ocon. Further down the order, we have Lance Stroll, Lando Norris. There's Jack Doohan in joint 13th with Kevin Magnussen, then Oscar Piastri, Nico Hülkenberg, Valtteri Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda, and Zhou Guanyu, the final point scorers, followed by Logan Sargent, Théo Pourchaire, and Nick de Vries. And over to the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes are still ahead at the top of the table, ahead of Ferrari and Red Bull. Then we have Racer Slothz just ahead of Aston Martin in 4th. Over to Alpine in 6th, then McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and AlphaTauri, the final point scorers, with Williams still on 0. And that's all for this race. We'll catch you next time for Zandvoort.